He stood outside the grand glass building in a faded navy shirt and worn-out shoes, clutching his 5-year-old daughter's tiny backpack, unaware that the woman waiting for him inside had loved him silently for years and was about to change his life forever. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and love that sees beyond appearances, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your support keeps these stories alive. Daniel Harper had never imagined he would one day marry a CEO. Most days, he was simply trying to survive. After his wife passed away during a long illness, Daniel became everything for his daughter, Lily: father, mother, protector, bedtime storyteller. He worked 2 jobs in their small town, cleaning offices at night and delivering packages during the day. Sleep was a luxury he rarely enjoyed. Pride was something he had learned to swallow. What mattered was Lily's smile, the way she wrapped her tiny arms around his neck and told him he was her hero. But being a single father in a world that often looked down on struggling men wasn't easy. Neighbors whispered, employers underestimated him, other parents at school events kept their distance. Daniel had grown used to polite rejection. He dressed neatly but cheaply. He spoke softly but carried the weight of constant judgment in his eyes. Still, he never let Lily see the cracks. To her, he was strong. What Daniel didn't know was that someone had been watching him for years, not in obsession, but in quiet admiration. Sophia Bennett, the powerful CEO of a fast-growing tech company, had first noticed Daniel long ago when he worked as a maintenance assistant in one of her company's smaller offices. Back then, before her accident, Sophia would occasionally see him helping elderly staff carry boxes, staying late without complaint, and once giving his entire lunch to a homeless man outside the building. He never knew she saw those moments. He never knew they stayed with her. Then life changed for Sophia in a single, violent second. A car accident left her paralyzed from the waist down. The headlines were brutal. Investors doubted her leadership. Competitors circled like sharks. Friends faded away. The glamorous CEO suddenly became the disabled executive, as if her identity had shrunk to a chair with wheels. But Sophia refused to surrender. From her wheelchair, she rebuilt her company with even fiercer determination. She demanded excellence. She inspired loyalty. Yet behind the boardroom doors, loneliness echoed loudly. Years later, when she learned that Daniel had lost his wife and was raising a child alone, something inside her ached. She remembered the quiet strength in his posture, the way he treated everyone with dignity. She followed his journey from a distance, ensuring through anonymous channels that he was offered stable work contracts with companies connected to her network. She never revealed herself. She wanted him to succeed on his own merit, not charity. The day Daniel was summoned to Sophia's headquarters, he assumed it was about a new maintenance contract. Instead, he found himself in a sleek office overlooking the city, facing a woman whose presence filled the room despite her wheelchair. Sophia looked at him not with pity, not with superiority, but with recognition. She spoke of partnership, of shared values, of building something meaningful together. When she proposed marriage, it was not a romantic fairy tale confession, but a practical, compassionate offer, one that would provide stability for Lily and companionship for them both. Daniel was stunned. He knew the rumors that would follow. A poor single dad marrying a disabled CEO would ignite gossip like wildfire. People would say he was after money. They would say she was desperate. But when he looked into Sophia's eyes, he saw sincerity. He saw strength. He saw someone who understood struggle in a different form, and for the first time in years he felt seen. The marriage was quiet, almost secretive. The backlash was not. Media outlets questioned Sophia's judgment. Online comments were cruel. Business rivals suggested she was being manipulated. Daniel endured whispers at Lily's school. Parents who once ignored him now watched him suspiciously. Every step into Sophia's corporate world felt like walking across glass. At home, however, something beautiful began to unfold. Lily adored Sophia. She would sit beside her wheelchair, braiding her hair, asking endless questions about running a company. Sophia, who had never imagined herself as maternal, found her heart softening in ways she hadn't expected. Daniel remained humble, refusing luxury for himself. He insisted on continuing to work, not because he had to, but because it reminded him who he was. Yet insecurity lingered. Daniel often lay awake at night, wondering if he truly belonged in Sophia's world. He worried that one day she would realize she deserved someone more polished, more educated, more powerful. What he didn't know was that Sophia carried her own fear, that he would eventually resent her limitations, that he would grow tired of helping her in and out of cars, of adjusting plans around accessibility. The turning point came during a high-profile charity gala. Cameras flashed as Sophia delivered a speech about resilience and inclusion. Suddenly, a technical failure plunged the stage into chaos. Critics smirked. Investors murmured. Without hesitation, Daniel stepped forward. He didn't have corporate polish, but he had heart. He spoke calmly about Sophia's strength, about how leadership wasn't measured by legs that walk, but by courage that stands firm. His voice trembled at first, then steadied. He told the room how she had inspired not just a company, but a broken widower trying to rebuild his life. The silence that followed was heavy and sacred. Applause rose slowly, then thundered. In that moment, the narrative shifted. People stopped seeing a disabled CEO and her poor husband. They saw two survivors who had chosen each other. Later that night, in the quiet of their home, Sophia finally confessed what she had hidden for years, that she had admired him long before the accident, long before his loss, long before marriage was even imaginable. She told him she had loved the man who gave away his lunch without knowing anyone important was watching. Daniel felt tears he hadn't allowed himself in years. All this time, he had believed he was the lucky one rescued from hardship. Now he understood that he had been cherished long before he realized his worth. Their journey was not magically perfect